Hey there, this is Mindy from the Little Road Farm, and you must be interested in some custom meat. So we offer two different types. We do pork and beef. With the pork, you can do a half hog or a whole hog. If you want the whole hog, just go ahead and put two of those halves in your cart. If you want beef, you have the option for a quarter, a half, or a whole. And again, if you want a quarter, put that in. If you want a half, put in 2 quarters. If you want a full, put in 4 quarters. With the quarter of beef, it is considered a half of a half. So you're gonna get cuts out of the entirety of the animal, not just 1 quarter, if that makes sense. There's a couple things that I would recommend. We always ask for the fat cap to be left on. So that's that nice thick layer of fat around your pork chops or your steaks. Even if you don't enjoy eating that, it is gonna give your meat a lot better flavor. So we recommend leaving that on, and I always order ours 2 per pack and 1 inch thick. You can go down as low as a half an inch. They're gonna cook a lot faster, and it might help make your meat go further, like if everybody wants their own piece. However, we enjoy the 1 inch cut, and that is what we sell in our farmers market for our herd share members. For hogs, I recommend asking for a 3 to 5 day hang. That is what we do. And when you get ham, you can get center cuts, and then that end cap can come in a roast. If you don't really like ham, you could have your ham ground into sausage or ground pork as well. I would highly recommend grinding up the cuts that you don't enjoy. It is not worth suffering through eating something that you don't enjoy or you don't know how to cook. Get it in a usable form for you. We have the shoulder roast. We like putting that into pork steak, and you can also make cottage bacon out of that or shoulder bacon out of that. With the bacon, you'll be offered either bacon or pork belly. And I'm just here to tell you, there's a reason they started making bacon. Bacon is delicious. Pork belly is gonna taste like a pork roast with strips of fat in it. It is not gonna taste like bacon. So just fair warning, if you don't get bacon because you don't want the curing process, plan on curing it yourself or plan on not having it taste like bacon. We don't really enjoy loin roast, so we have that ground up and put into sausage. Their typical offerings for sausage are a breakfast sausage, a hot breakfast sausage, Italian, hot Italian, maple. Some lockers offer links, some do patties. You are going to pay a little bit more for different specialty cuts and blends or something like bratwurst, things like that. On the beef, let me switch over to that page and give you the scoop on that. So on the beef, you're going to be offered round or cube steak. It is going to be a slight fee for anything, again, that's specialty. So tenderizing your cube steak, cutting up stew meat, or if you want something like summer sausage, jerky, meat sticks, or dried beef, those are all going to be up charges. If you want specialty cuts like your flat iron or your skirt steak, again, you're going to get charged a little bit more for that. The round you can turn into round steaks, you can turn it into stew meat, or you can do cube steaks. You can get a T-bone, or you can have the bone taken out of that, and that's going to be your fillet and your strips. The sirloin is a nice steak. We always get that in steaks. Again, 1 inch thick, 2 per pack. Brisket, I like to have them not trim the brisket. Again, that leaves that fat layer on. And then I have them cut it in half because it's much easier for storing in the freezer. And also, you can always cook 2 halves, but if you don't want the whole giant thing, it's just gonna make it easier on you. There's 3 kinds of roast. There's arm roast, chuck roast, and rump roast. I really don't like the arm roast or the rump roast. They just don't have as much marbling in them. So the ones that I sell in the farmer's market shop to have available for our herd share members, those are all chuck roasts. I grind the arm and the rump roast into hamburger. You have the option of stew meat. Your ground packaging can usually come in anywhere from 1 pound, 1.5 pound to 2 pound packages, just depending on the meat locker. And then you do have the option, depending on how many people you're splitting it with, possibly for the oxtail, liver, heart, and tongue. Again, there's only 1 of each of those things per animal. So if it's something you want, let them know. You may or may not be able to get it. Sometimes you can get a little bit of tallow, but I usually only get 2 small packages off of a full beef. And that will come not rendered, but it will come ground. Same with lard on a hog. anytime you want something specialty, again, like I said with the hogs, you are going to pay a little bit more for it. With beef, you can do dried beef jerky, summer sausage, meat sticks, and a few other things. So I hope that helps. The way that it will work as well is you will pay the farm the hanging weight of the meat. So what that means is that live weight is what the animal is on the hoof. We take that live animal into the meat locker, and at the meat locker, they go ahead and they process it down to a hanging carcass. That hanging carcass is about 65% of the live weight, and you will get charged per pound on the hanging carcass. The hanging carcass then will be cut into your cuts of meat, and that again will be about 65% of your hanging weight. So every time you do some processing, you get about 65% out of that, if that makes sense. So your take-home weight is going to be about 65% of your carcass weight, because you're not taking home every bone, every sinew, every dried part. So, when they hang it, and we recommend asking if they can hang your beef for 21 days, that's going to dry a little bit on the outside. They're going to need to cut that off. You're going to lose some moisture. That's weight as well. So all those things. So please just keep in mind, your take-home weight is going to be lower than your hanging weight, and it's not because the locker's cheating you out of anything. It's because they're getting you all those amazing cuts, and they're nice and trimmed, and you don't have to do that. You will pay us that hanging weight. There are some examples below that you can look at on how that's going to work. And then when that meat, animal, carcass, whatever you want to call it, is there at the meat locker, you're going to call in your cut order. And again, they will walk you through this. They'll give you your options. You select how you want it packaged, how you want it cut, and that's what will be waiting for you when you go to pick it up. You will need to pay the meat locker for processing when you pick it up. So the farm payment is just for the animal itself. The locker payment is just for the processing. So the farm payment you will pay as soon as we drop that animal off and have a hanging weight for you. The locker payment you will pay when you pick up your processed meat, and that will be about 2 weeks for a hog, about 3 to 4 weeks for beef, maybe longer depending if you got some specialty cuts like jerky, summer sausage, things like that. I hope this is helpful. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions beyond that. Check out the links to the example listings below, and that should give you a better idea on pricing and things like that.